Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed at 1,000 subscribers. I'll be posting a special video. My thumb hit Jake's phone screen before my brain caught up. The screen lit up, unlocked, and it felt like a trap. I'm Danny, 29, and I still hate myself for that first swipe. I told myself I was just checking the time. That lie lasted maybe 1 second. Jake had stepped away mid-laugh, mid-story, mid-everything. His voice drifted from the other room, low and tense. He never gets tense on casual calls. That was my first warning, and I ignored it. I picked up the phone anyway, and my pulse jumped. A banner slid across the top, a name I didn't know, Emma. The message preview was short and sharp. Same place, don't be late. My stomach tightened like I'd missed a step. I should have put the phone down right there. I know that now, and I knew it then. My hand didn't listen. Another swipe and the thread opened like it wanted me inside. That sounds dramatic, but it's true. The texts weren't flirty in a cute way. They were efficient, like a plan. Times, a room number, and that one word, careful. It wasn't careful like drive safe. It was careful like don't get caught. My throat went dry and I stared too long. I glanced toward the hallway like Jake could see through walls. He didn't come back yet. I could hear him talking, but not the words. My fingers hovered above the screen, shaking like I'd had too much caffeine. I scrolled again, slower, like that made it less wrong. There was a selfie in the thread, not nude, not porn, just intimate in the worst way. Her face was half in frame, his shoulder was in it, and I knew that hoodie. I'd seen it on him that week. My brain tried to rescue him anyway. Maybe it was old, maybe it was something stupid. Maybe Emma was a cousin and I was losing it. That defense lasted until the next line landed. She thinks you're at Danny S. I felt heat hit my ears. It was like my name got slapped on the table. I sat up straight, suddenly aware of how loud my breathing was. My hand went cold around the phone. I didn't scroll for a few seconds. I just stared at that sentence. She thinks you're at Danny's. I didn't even have to guess who she was. Jake only used one she without a name. Another message followed right after, and it was worse. Don't forget what you promised about the baby thing. That word sat there like a loaded gun. My mind flashed to his wife, Liz, and her constant hopeful smile. I had met Liz for coffee a few days earlier. She talked about ovulation apps like they were weather reports. She asked me if Jake seemed stressed, like I'd know. I had laughed then, and now that laugh felt dirty. I scrolled again because I'm a coward and also because I needed to know. The next message came from Jake. I can't talk now, he's right here. He meant me. I was reading myself like a punchline. I heard Jake's steps in the hall, closer now. My body moved on instinct. I locked the phone and set it down like it had burned me. My hands went to my lap and I tried to arrange my face. Jake came back in, phone-free, acting normal on purpose. He dropped into his seat and forced a grin. Sorry, work stuff. His eyes flicked to the phone for half a beat. I nodded too fast. I made a sound that wasn't a word. My mouth felt useless, like it forgot how to be casual. He watched me and I wondered if I looked guilty. He reached for his phone and my heart sprinted. He picked it up, glanced at the screen, and relaxed a little. That tiny relief on his face made me feel sick. It meant he knew there was something to hide. He started talking again, filling the space with noise. He made a joke, then another, pushing a rhythm. I laughed once and it came out wrong. Jake paused and his eyes narrowed like he heard a crack. You okay? His voice sounded easy, but his shoulders were tight. I wanted to say no. I wanted to throw the truth at him and run. Instead, I nodded again like a liar. He leaned forward and tapped his phone, quick and private. His thumb moved with practice. That's what got me the most, how normal he was, like this was already part of his routine. My chest felt crowded and I kept swallowing. I stared at his hands, not his face. If I looked at him, I might explode. He kept talking and I barely caught any of it. Then his phone buzzed again, soft but sharp. He angled the screen away from me without thinking. It was a small move, almost nothing, but it said everything. He wasn't worried about privacy, he was worried about me. He stood up fast. Bathroom? He didn't wait for a response. He took the phone with him this time like he'd learned the lesson. I sat there frozen, hearing the door close, feeling my pulse pound. I could have left right then. I could have walked out and saved myself. I didn't move. I just sat there staring at the empty seat, realizing my best friend had turned me into his cover story. And the worst part was, I still hadn't decided what to do next. I stood up the second the door shut behind him. My legs moved before I agreed to it. I told myself I was just stretching. My body knew I was stalking truth. I took 2 steps and stopped. The place went too quiet all at once. I could still hear his voice through the door. It had that careful tone he never uses with me. I leaned closer and held my breath. I hate that I did that. I hate it more because it worked. A few words slid through the crack and they were enough. Not now, his whisper sounded sharp and practiced. Stop texting. A pause followed, then a softer line. I'm serious, I can't mess this up. I backed away fast like I'd been caught stealing. My face felt hot, then cold. I tried to walk normal back to the couch. My steps still sounded guilty to me. He came out a minute later with a fake ease. He didn't look at me right away. He grabbed his drink and took a long pull. That tiny delay made my skin crawl. You good? I tried to keep it light. My voice came out thin anyway. He shrugged like the question bored him. His knee bounced like it was powered. Work drama? He waved a hand and forced a laugh. You know how it is. His eyes finally met mine, then slid away again. That dodge landed hard. I tested him without meaning to. Liz still excited about the baby plan? I kept my tone casual on purpose. His jaw tightened just a flicker, then he smiled like a mask. Yeah, she's all in. He stared at the wall while saying it. His fingers tapped his thigh in a quick pattern. I watched that tapping like it could talk. I tried another angle and I hated myself for it. You seem busy lately? I let that hang in the air. He laughed too loud and too quick. It sounded like a door slamming. Dude, don't start. He leaned forward like he was warning me. His voice stayed friendly, but his eyes didn't. That mismatch scared me more than yelling. I nodded like I understood, and I didn't. My brain kept replaying his whisper through the door, not now, stop texting. Those weren't work drama words. He picked up his cell and turned the screen away again. It was reflex, not thought. He typed fast with one thumb, then he locked it and exhaled like he'd survived something. A minute later, he stood up like he remembered an errand. I gotta bounce. He didn't ask if I wanted to hang. He didn't even wait for a reaction. He just moved like the room burned. I followed him to the door on autopilot. Everything cool? I meant it and also didn't. He pulled on his jacket and kept his eyes low. Yeah, totally. The lie sat between us like a third person. He stepped outside, then paused. Hey, if Liz asks, I was here. His voice stayed light like it was no big deal. My stomach dropped so fast it hurt. I blinked at him and said nothing. He lifted both hands like he was calming me down. Just for tonight. He smiled, but it looked strained. Then he walked to his car without waiting. That was the moment I realized I'd been recruited. I closed the door and stared at the lock. My hands shook and that annoyed me. I wanted to be the calm one in this story. Instead, I was trembling in my own living room. I paced and tried to talk myself out of it. Maybe he meant something harmless. Maybe he needed space for a surprise. I kept building excuses like I was being paid. My cell buzzed and my chest tightened. A message from Jake popped up. You're the best, don't overthink it. That line felt like pressure, not comfort. It felt like he was already managing me. I didn't answer right away. I just stared at the words until my eyes hurt. My brain kept asking one ugly question. Why would I need to lie to Liz at all? Another message came in before I decided. If she calls, tell her I'm with you. No please, no explanation, just an instruction like I worked for him. That flipped a switch in me. I typed back, then erased it. I typed again, then erased that too. I didn't want to fight over text. I also didn't want to be silent. I ended up sending one weak line. What's going on? He didn't reply for a while. Those minutes felt longer than they should. I kept checking the clock like it could fix me. Then my cell rang and my throat tightened again. Liz's name lit up the screen. My thumb hovered above accept. I almost let it go to voicemail. I answered anyway because I'm not that brave. Hey, her voice sounded bright and tired at once. Jake there? I swallowed hard and stared at the wall. My brain screamed at me to choose. I picked the coward choice and said, yeah, he just stepped out. Oh, good, she sounded relieved right away. Tell him the clinic moved our appointment? I felt my face go numb. Clinic, appointment, baby, those words hit like a shove. When is it? My voice came out steady, which shocked me. She gave me the day and time, quick and cheerful. Then she added one more detail that sliced me open. He promised he'd leave work early this time. I made a noise like agreement. She kept talking, excited and hopeful. I tried to keep up with small responses. Every word felt like another brick on my chest. Then she lowered her voice a little. He's been so stressed, Elle. Atley writes. I paused too long. Yeah, a bit. My mouth felt dry. She sighed like she hated worrying. I just want him happy. That sweetness made me feel disgusting. We ended the call and I sat down hard. My hands were sweaty on my knees. I wanted to throw my cell across the room. I didn't because I also wanted Jake to call. He finally responded and it was a single line. Don't make this weird. That was it. No reason, no apology, just control wrapped in casual words. I stared at that message until my eyes blurred. I could feel myself changing in real time. I wasn't his buddy in that moment. I was his tool and he knew it. I tried to picture telling Liz the truth right then. My mind showed her face collapsing. My gut twisted so hard I had to stand up. I wasn't ready for that fallout, but I also couldn't stay in the middle. My cell buzzed again with one last message. Friday night too, same deal? My throat closed and I couldn't swallow because now it wasn't a one-time cover. It was a pattern forming right in front of me. I drove toward Jake's Friday night and my hands felt wrong. I kept telling myself I was only confirming reality. I also knew I was crossing a line. My foot still pressed the gas. I almost turned around at the first light. My brain started bargaining with me hard. Maybe I misread everything. Maybe he was spiraling but not cheating. Then his last text flashed in my head again and I kept going. I didn't head to my place, that was the point. If he wanted an alibi, he could earn it. I went where his pattern hinted, not where he told me. My gut had already chosen a side. I parked far enough to feel ridiculous. I sat there like some low-budget detective. My chest kept thumping like I'd done something criminal. Then I saw his car roll in right on time. He didn't park like a guy meeting friends. He slid into a spot near the side entrance. He stayed inside for a moment, looking around. That caution told me more than any text. He got out and adjusted his jacket like he was prepping. He checked his pocket, then his watch. He didn't smile once. He walked fast like the building was pulling him. I waited a beat, then followed at a distance. My legs felt stiff and dumb. I kept my eyes down like that made me invisible. I hated myself for turning into this. A woman stepped from the doorway and lifted a hand. Jake's posture changed the second he saw her. His shoulders dropped like he'd been holding them up all day. That tiny shift punched me in the throat. She didn't act like a stranger. She moved in close without hesitation. He leaned in too, like it was automatic. Their faces got near enough that I couldn't pretend anymore. They didn't just greet, they connected. His hand touched her lower back and stayed there. That touch wasn't friendly and my stomach flipped. I stopped behind a pillar and stared like an idiot. I kept waiting for a normal explanation to appear. It never showed up. They walked inside together and he didn't look back once. I stood there frozen, then forced myself to breathe. I could leave now with enough. That would be the healthy choice. I didn't take it because I needed the full truth. I slid inside after them, keeping my head turned away. My heart hammered like it wanted out of my ribs. I told myself I wouldn't go farther than the lobby. Then they stepped into the elevator. I watched the elevator numbers climb. I didn't follow into the car because I'm not a cartoon villain. I also wasn't brave. I waited until the doors shut and my pulse calmed a little. I moved to a chair where I could see the hallway. My leg bounced like it had its own panic. I kept checking the time like it would change the outcome. Each minute felt like a verdict. A couple walked past and glanced at me. I stared at my hands and tried to look normal. My face felt hot again, then numb. I could taste that metallic stress taste. I almost laughed and it came out silent. This was my best friend. This was the guy who toasted his wife at their wedding. Now I was sitting here like a stray, waiting for him to finish. Another part of me tried a softer story. Maybe they were fighting and he needed comfort. Maybe it was emotional, not physical. I clung to that lie for exactly one elevator ride. The doors opened and Jake stepped out first. The woman followed, fixing her hair with both hands. Jake looked satisfied in a way I hated. He glanced at his screen, then smirked. I shrank back, but it didn't matter. He didn't scan the room like before. He acted loose now, like the risk was gone. That confidence made my blood run cold. He walked past me without seeing me. I could have reached out and grabbed his sleeve. I didn't because I didn't trust myself. My fists clenched until my knuckles hurt. He stepped outside and pulled his phone up fast. His thumb moved like he had a script. I watched him type and send with zero hesitation. I knew who that message was for. My own cell lit up a second later. All good still. At yours, my vision blurred for a beat. He was lying to me while lying through me. I stared at the message like it could insult me louder. My throat tightened and I swallowed hard. I wanted to throw my cell into the street. Instead, I typed 3 words and deleted them. I walked to my car and sat there shaking. I kept replaying the lower back touch. I kept hearing Liz's voice talking about appointments. My brain kept snapping between those 2 images. I didn't go home right away. I drove around in circles like that could solve it. I kept thinking about what proof even meant now. I had seen enough to break a marriage and I still hesitated. My cell rang again and I almost ignored it. Liz's name filled the screen and my stomach dropped. I answered because not answering felt like another lie. My voice came out too careful. Hey, sorry, quick question. Her tone sounded light, but there was an edge. Jake still with you? I stared at my steering wheel like it could speak. My mouth opened and nothing came. Yeah, the word slipped out and I hated it instantly. There was a pause on her end like she was reading my silence. Then she tried to laugh it off, but it sounded strained. Okay, cool, she swallowed and I heard it through the line. Can you tell him to call me back soon? That request hit me hard because it was reasonable. I will. My voice sounded far away, even to me. She thanked me like I'd done her a favor. Then she added one line that wrecked my chest. I feel weird tonight. I didn't know what to say without detonating everything. I tried to keep her calm like a coward. He'll call, I promise. I wasn't promising her, I was promising myself. Then she hung up fast like she might cry. I sat there gripping the wheel until my hands hurt. I tried to tell myself I was protecting her from pain. That sounded noble in my head for about 5 seconds. Then it sounded like an excuse. Jake called me 10 minutes later. His voice came in too casual, too relaxed. My man, thanks again. I felt something in me harden at that confidence. Where are you? I didn't frame it as a question. I didn't add a laugh to soften it. There was a short pause and I could almost hear his brain shift gears. Still out, running stuff. Stop, the word came out sharper than I intended. My throat felt tight around it. I saw you. Silence dropped on the line like a weight, then his voice lowered. You followed me? He sounded offended, which was almost funny. Almost. He breathed out slow like he was calming himself. Why would you do that? Because you used me? I gripped the wheel again, harder. Because you dragged Liz into this. My voice shook and I hated that weakness. He didn't respond right away and that delay told me he was choosing a strategy. Listen, his tone shifted into damage control. You don't get it. That line made me see red. He always uses that when he wants control. I get plenty. I forced my voice steady. You're meeting her, you're lying to your wife. My chest felt like it was packed with stones. He sighed like I was being dramatic. You saw nothing. He tried to make it sound simple. You saw a moment. That was the most insulting part, the rewrite, like my eyes were unreliable. I laughed once, short and ugly. A moment with a room key. The words spilled before I could stop them. Another silence. Then his voice sharpened. Keep your voice down. He sounded like he was scolding a child. This isn't your life. I wanted to scream that he made it my life first. Instead, I clenched my jaw and breathed. Then don't put me in it. My voice came out low and cold. Don't make me lie for you. He went quiet again and I could hear traffic behind him. He was outside, moving, hiding. You're overreacting. He tried the calm approach now. It's complicated. That word is a trap, and I knew it. It means let me keep doing it. What's complicated is you planning a baby. My words came out slower, like I was dragging them. With a wife you're tricking? He made a frustrated sound like I'd inconvenienced him. Don't talk about the baby. His voice turned hard. You don't say that out loud. That reaction told me everything. If it was harmless, he wouldn't fear words. So you know it's wrong? I swallowed and pushed through the ache. You know it's disgusting. He hissed out a breath like I'd gone too far, then he went quiet and I heard something change in him. I need you. His voice softened in a way that felt fake. Just for a bit. I almost lost it right there. He wasn't sorry, he was negotiating. No, one word, clean and final. He paused, then tried a new angle. You'll ruin her, you'll crush her. That line hit my ribs because it worked. He used her pain as a shield for his behavior. I sat there shaking, caught between rage and fear. He knew exactly where to press. You already did this. My voice cracked, and I hated that too. I'm just holding the match now. He went silent like he didn't like TH. Metaphor, then he spoke softly like a threat. If you tell her you're dead to me, no yellings, no drama, just a flat boundary. That calm cruelty scared me more than shouting ever could. I stared through my windshield and tried to process it. Best friends don't say that. People protecting a lie say that. My mouth felt dry again and I forced my next words out. So that's it, I swallowed and kept going. You pick her over your wife. He didn't deny it, he didn't even pretend, he just exhaled like he was tired of me. You don't know what Liz is like right now. His voice dipped into annoyance. It's nonstop baby talk. My skin crawled at that blame. He was painting her hope like a burden. She wants a family? My voice turned hard again. That's not a crime. He scoffed like I was naive. I could hear him walking steps quick like he was avoiding being seen. You think you're the hero? He tried to twist it on me. You think you're clean. That one stung because I wasn't clean. I had lied to Liz already. I had become part of the mess. I'm not clean. I admitted it and it hurt. I'm trying to stop being dirty. He laughed under his breath like I was being dramatic again, then he dropped the mask fully. Fine, his voice sharpened. You want truth. He paused for effect like a performer. She's not even the only one. My heart stopped for a second. I couldn't breathe right away. My mind tried to reject it because it was too much. Then the nausea hit hard like my body knew before my brain did. What? The word came out thin. He sounded almost relieved now, like dumping it freed him. There were others, not many, just mistakes. Mistakes, that word made me want to punch something. He was stacking betrayals and calling them accidents. I gripped the wheel and forced air into my lungs. My head felt like it might explode. You're sick. I didn't mean it as a diagnosis. I meant it as disgust. He didn't argue with that either, which felt worse. You're my friend? His voice went low again. You don't do this to me. The audacity of that line almost made me laugh, almost. My eyes burned and I blinked hard. You did this to me? My voice shook again, but I didn't care. You made me lie to her face. He went silent, then muttered something that sounded like regret. It wasn't about Liz, though. Just keep quiet until after the appointment? His voice turned careful. Let her have that. I felt my stomach twist because now he had a timeline. He had a plan to use her hope. He was asking me to help him do it. I didn't answer right away. My silence stretched between us. He filled it with one last push, soft and persuasive. If you blow this up now, you're the villain. I stared at the road and felt something in me snap. It wasn't rage. It was clarity. He was already writing the story where I was the bad guy. He was just waiting for me to play my part. I'm done covering. My voice came out steady for the first time. Don't call me for lies again. He didn't respond, and that silence felt like a door closing. I ended the call with my hand shaking anyway. I sat there for a long minute, breathing hard. My mind kept spinning through choices like a slot machine. Tell Liz now, wait, confront him in person, gather more proof. Every option felt like pain. Then my cell lit up with a new message, a number I didn't recognize, one line, no greeting. Are you with Jake right now? My throat tightened again. I stared at the screen, frozen, because I knew who it was before I admitted it. Emma had found me and I had no idea what she wanted. I typed back with my thumb hovering like a landmine. Who is this? My hands wanted to lock up. I forced them to move anyway. 3 dots appeared, then vanished, then appeared again. A new line came in right after. Emma, Jake's friend. That last word looked chosen, not honest. I leaned back and let air out slow. My brain kept shouting one warning: this could be a trap. I didn't answer for a beat, then I did. Why are you texting me? The reply came fast, like she was waiting. Because you're his cover and I'm tired. That sentence hit like a slap. I glanced at the time and felt my jaw clench. I was still sitting in my car, engine off. Everything felt too exposed, like someone could read my screen. I slid lower in my seat anyway, like that helped. Are you with him right now? She asked again. I typed, erased, typed again. No, he's not with me. My finger hovered over send for a second too long, then I sent it. Her next line made my chest jump. He told me you lie. I blinked hard at that. He didn't just use me, he planned me. That realization made my ears burn. I didn't want to give her anything yet. What do you want? It sounded rude even in my head. Her answer came with no softness. I want to know what he told you about me. I stared at that and felt my mouth go dry. If I told her, I might help her. If I told her, I might also hand her ammo to aim at Liz. That thought made me hesitate. And she caught it. You don't trust me? Another line followed. Fair, I don't trust you either. I actually respected that for a second, then I remembered who would get hurt most. I typed, he said you were nothing. That was partly true, partly bait. She responded with one word, cute. Then she sent a photo. It wasn't a spicy photo, it was worse. It was a screenshot of a calendar entry with his name on it. A hotel name sat under it with a room number. My skin went cold. Another screenshot followed right after. A payment confirmation with his card last 4 digits. He wasn't just sneaking around, he was funding it like a routine expense. I swallowed and stared at the proof like it might vanish. It didn't. Why are you showing me this? I waited for a dramatic reason. Her response was blunt. Because he's playing us both. I typed us. That single word felt heavy. She didn't dodge it. Yeah, he told me they're basically separated. My face tightened at that line. I leaned forward like the steering wheel could support me. They're not separated. I didn't add more yet. She waited for me to continue and I didn't. That silence was my guilt and I hated it. Her next text came softer but not kind. Are you sure? I stared at the screen. I thought about Liz's call and her hopeful voice. I typed 3 words. They're trying for a baby. The typing bubbles stopped. Nothing came for a few seconds. Then she sent, stop. Another line followed fast. Don't mess with me. Her denial wasn't anger, it was panic. I typed back, I wish I was lying. My finger shook and I hated that detail. She didn't answer right away. When she did, her message was short and ugly. He said she can't get pregnant anyway. I stared at that and felt rage rise hot. That wasn't just cheating, that was cruelty dressed as a joke. I typed, he doesn't know that. She replied, he doesn't care. I didn't want to keep texting. It felt like a courtroom with no judge. I typed, call me. Then I instantly regretted it. A second later, my screen lit up with an incoming call. I answered and kept my voice low. Hello. Her breathing came through first, fast and uneven. Tell me you're not lying about the baby thing. My mouth felt stiff as I said it. I'm not lying. She made a sound like she was biting down on words. He told me Liz is controlling. She laughed once, sharp and bitter. He said he's trapped. That laugh sounded like it hurt her. I pressed my palm against my forehead. He told me you were just work. I almost said nothing again but didn't. She exhaled hard into the speaker. Work, that's hilarious. Her voice shifted, suddenly focused. Where are you? I hesitated. In my car. That sounded pathetic out loud. She didn't judge me for it, which somehow felt worse. Meet me. Her tone left no space for debate. I'll show you everything. I felt my chest tighten again. I'm not meeting a stranger at midnight. She didn't get defensive. Coffee shop near the highway, lights, cameras, your choice. I picked a place I knew had people around. I texted the address and kept my eyes on the parking lot. My brain ran through worst cases like a movie trailer. Then I drove there anyway because I couldn't stay still. She arrived 10 minutes later and walked in fast. She looked normal, which made it creepier. No villain outfit, no dramatic entrance, just a woman with tired eyes and a jaw set hard. She slid into the seat across from me, her hands stayed on the table open. "I'm not here to fight you," her eyes locked on mine. "I'm here because he's a liar." I didn't offer comfort, I didn't trust myself to fake it. "How long?" The question came out blunt, she didn't flinch. "Months." Then she added, "I thought I was the only one." That last line made my stomach drop again. I held up a hand. "He told me there were others." Her eyes narrowed like she was doing math. "He told you that?" She let out a quiet breath. "So he's admitting pieces now." She pulled out her phone and turned it so I could see. She didn't scroll slowly. She threw the evidence at me like she wanted it done. Screenshots, dates, a text where he called Liz a roommate. One photo showed him in their kitchen. I recognized it instantly and my chest stung. He was wearing the same sweatshirt I'd seen before. He was smiling at the camera like life was good. I pushed the phone back slightly like it was radioactive. "Why are you showing me their house?" Her eyes widened, then softened. "Because I didn't know it was their house." She swallowed hard. "He said it was his place." That shook me more than I expected. He didn't just lie to Liz. He built a whole fake world for Emma, too. I felt a weird flash of sympathy, then I hated myself for it. Emma leaned forward, voice low. "He told me he wanted kids." She made a small, bitter laugh. "He said Liz didn't want them." She shook her head once like she still couldn't believe it. "I feel stupid." I swallowed and forced my voice steady. "Liz does want kids." Emma's face tightened at the confirmation. Her fingers curled, then relaxed again. "So he used that on purpose." She stared at the table like it could answer. I didn't want this to become a pity circle. I pushed toward the only point that mattered. "Do you have anything that proves it to her?" Emma's eyes flicked up fast. "You mean for court?" I shook my head. "I mean for truth." She sat back and thought for a second, then she nodded once like a decision clicked in. "I have a voicemail." She tapped her screen and held it out. "He says he can't talk because Liz is around." I listened and felt my skin crawl. Jake's voice was calm and familiar. He sounded like himself, and that made it worse. He called Emma babe like it was nothing. My jaw clenched and I handed the phone back. Emma watched my face like she was reading a verdict. "That's enough, right?" I wanted to say yes immediately. I didn't because I knew what enough would trigger. I looked down at my hands and spoke carefully. "If Liz hears this, her life flips." Emma nodded like she understood. "Mine already flipped." Then her voice hardened. "He deserves consequences." I didn't disagree. I also didn't want revenge driving the plan. "I need to do this clean." Emma tilted her head. "Clean?" She looked like she almost laughed. "You mean you want to feel innocent?" That stung because it was true. I wasn't innocent anymore and I knew it. I lied to Liz on the phone. I became a shield for Jake's mess. I wanted to fix it without drowning in guilt. Emma leaned in again. "He's going to blame you." Her eyes stayed locked on mine. "He'll say you're obsessed." She said it like she'd heard it before. "He's already planting stories." I opened my mouth to respond, then stopped. Because my phone started buzzing on the table. Jake's name lit up the screen. Emma's eyes flicked to it, then back to me. "Answer it," she whispered. I hesitated for half a beat, then accepted the call. "Hey," my voice sounded too calm and that scared me. Jake's voice came through sharp. "Where are you?" I kept my face neutral and looked at Emma. "Out." One word. He didn't like that. "Out where?" His tone carried suspicion now. "You don't just go out." Emma raised her eyebrows like, "See." I kept my voice level. "I needed air." Jake's breath came loud into the receiver. "Who are you with?" I could have lied again. My mouth almost did it from habit. Then I saw Emma's eyes, wide and furious. I swallowed and chose chaos. "Emma." The line went dead quiet for a second. Then Jake's voice came back, low and dangerous. "Put her on." I didn't move. "No." My voice cracked slightly on that word. "Don't do this." His tone turned pleading, which felt fake. "You're making a mistake." Emma leaned closer and spoke loud enough for him to hear. "You already made the mistake, Jake." He cursed under his breath, then his voice snapped. You two are insane. He tried to laugh, but it sounded tight. She's lying to you, she's desperate. Emma didn't flinch. Tell him about the baby, she said to me. My gut twisted again. I forced the words out into the phone. Liz told me about the appointment. Jake's breathing changed instantly. You talked to her. That sounded like panic, not anger. I didn't answer fast enough. Jake filled the space, voice racing now. Listen, do not tell her. He dropped the casual mask completely. You will ruin everything. Emma's hand slammed the table once hard. You already ruined it. Jake ignored her and focused on me. You owe me, he said, and his voice went cold. You owe me loyalty. I felt my face heat with anger. You used me as a cover. My voice sounded rough, even to me. Jake's tone turned sharp again. Because you're my friend. He said it like that made it noble. Emma leaned back and shook her head slowly. She mouthed one word at me, run. I didn't run. I stayed on the call because I needed his next words. Jake lowered his voice like he was about to confess. I can fix this. He spoke fast like he'd rehearsed. Just get Liz through the appointment. My chest tightened because he was still thinking like a planner. I stared at the table and felt something shift. He wasn't asking for time. He was asking for one more performance, one more lie so he could keep control. Emma whispered, he's going to get her pregnant. The words hit me like a punch. Jake heard it and exploded. Stop saying that. His voice went loud. Stop putting that on me. I spoke into the phone, slow and clear. Are you still sleeping with Liz? Emma's eyes widened at my question. Jake froze for a beat, then snapped back. That's none of your business. That answer was the answer. I swallowed hard and felt my heart hammer. If he was still sleeping with her, this got darker. If he wasn't, he was still letting her hope. Jake's voice dropped again, controlled and scary. If you go near her with this, we're done. He paused, then added, and I'll make sure everyone knows what you did. My mouth W. And dry because that sounded real. Emma leaned forward, eyes fierce. Tell her anyway. She said it like a dare. My brain spun through fallout, blame, and damage. Then my phone buzzed again, another incoming call. It was Liz. Her name glowed on my screen like a final warning. Jake was still on the line, breathing hard. Emma stared at the screen and went still. I looked at Liz's name and felt my hands freeze, because now it wasn't a decision in theory. It was right here, ringing in my palm. I jabbed the screen and answered Liz's call before I could chicken out. My other hand slammed the table like it would steady me. Jake was still on the line in my other ear. Emma watched me like I was about to jump. Hey, Liz sounded breathless. Where is Jake? My throat tightened and my mouth stalled. Jake hissed my name into the phone, low and sharp. I heard him moving fast steps like he was pacing. I need you to sit down. My voice came out rough. Liz went quiet for half a beat. Why? That single word carried dread. Emma's fingers tapped once on the table, impatient. Jake's voice cut in, urgent. Don't you dare. I pulled my phone away from my ear and hit speaker on Liz's call. Then I ended Jake's call in one hard swipe. Emma's eyes widened like she didn't expect that. Liz heard the click through the line. Who was that? Her voice turned careful. Are you with someone? My chest rose and fell too fast. I'm with a woman Jake's been seeing. Emma flinched at my phrasing. Liz didn't speak and that silence screamed. What? Liz's voice dropped to a whisper. What are you talking about? I swallowed hard and forced my words into order. Jake isn't where you think he is. The line stayed quiet, then Liz breathed out shaky. Stop, please stop. I hated that sound. It made me want to take it back. I couldn't take it back because the truth doesn't reverse. Emma leaned forward and mouthed, keep going. Liz, I lied to you. My mouth felt numb saying it. He asked me to cover for him. Liz made a small choking noise. So you knew. The accusation landed like a slap. No, I winced, not at first. The lie had been small in the moment and huge now. I found out and I panicked. Liz inhaled sharply like she might scream. She didn't scream, which was worse. Put Jake on, her voice turned hard fast. Now, I stared at Emma, then down at the table. He's not here. Liz's breath came loud through the speaker. Where is he? Emma reached across and slid her phone toward me. I didn't grab it yet. He's with her sometimes, I said, and my voice cracked. Tonight he was out. Liz went quiet again, then spoke slow. Out where? I didn't want to drop a hotel name like a grenade. I also didn't want to keep dragging it. A hotel? My voice sounded flat. I saw him go in. Liz let out a short laugh that wasn't laughter. You saw him? She repeated it like she couldn't parse it. You followed him? That word stung because it made me sound crazy. I deserved that sting. Yeah, I admitted it and my stomach turned. I needed to be sure. Liz's voice turned low and dangerous. Sure enough to destroy my marriage? She paused, then added, sure enough to ruin my body plans. That last part made me flinch. Emma spoke up, voice tight. I didn't know about the baby. Liz snapped instantly. I wasn't talking to you. Emma shut her mouth, but her eyes stayed fierce. I raised a hand at Emma like, please. Liz's breathing got faster. Tell me what you have. She sounded like she was bargaining with reality. Tell me you have proof. I stared at the table again and my shame hit hard. I saw him with her. My voice went smaller. I also saw messages earlier. Liz went silent, then asked, messages from him? I swallowed. From her too. That sentence hung heavy. Liz's voice came back colder. So you looked through his phone. I didn't dodge it. Yes, I hated myself for it. It was wrong. Liz made a bitter sound. It's always wrong until it's useful. That cut deep because she was right. I tried to keep it focused. Liz, I'm not proud. My voice shook and I forced it steadier. But he's been lying to you a lot. Liz's voice rose. How much? Emma's phone buzzed on the table like a warning. Emma lifted her screen toward me. Jake's name popped up on her phone too. He was calling both of us. Liz kept talking, voice sharp. How much is a lot? I grabbed Emma's phone and hit decline without thinking. Emma stared at me like I'd taken her steering wheel. I didn't care. I was done letting him control any channel. He told her you were basically separated. I said it fast before I lost nerve. Liz sucked in air like she'd been punched. Separated, she repeated it slowly. He told her that. Emma's voice cracked. He told me you didn't want kids. Liz made a sound that turned into a sob and got cut off, then her voice snapped back, rigid. He told you that? Emma nodded like Liz could see it. Yes. Liz's breath came in ragged bursts. I won. Tee him here, she sounded like she was trying to summon him. I want him in front of me. My heart pounded because I knew he'd dodge. He always dodged. I can call him, I offered, and it sounded weak. Liz's voice turned harsh. He won't answer. She paused, then added, he hasn't answered me all night. My chest tightened again. Emma's phone buzzed again, then again. A text popped up from Jake. Do not do this, you'll regret it. Emma angled the screen so I could read it. Liz heard the silence and asked, what is he saying? I didn't want to play messenger, but I did. He's threatening us. Liz gave a quiet laugh again, brittle. Of course he is. She inhaled, then asked the question I dreaded. How long? Emma spoke first this time. Since spring. Liz made a strained sound. Spring. She repeated it like a calendar was a weapon. We started trying in summer. Her voice broke on that word, trying. I felt sick. I jumped in quick. He asked me to cover last week. Liz's voice sharpened. So he's still doing it. That wasn't a question, it was a verdict I couldn't answer with comfort. Yes. Liz went quiet, then her voice returned low. Are you both together right now? I glanced at Emma, then answered. Yes. Liz paused, then said, stay there. Her tone was command now. Do not leave. Emma mouthed, is she coming here? I didn't know. My brain started racing again. What if Liz showed up and exploded? What if Jake followed? What if this turned physical? Liz's voice softened for a second and that softness felt dangerous. I need to hear it. She swallowed hard. I need to hear something from her. Emma stiffened like she'd been slapped. Emma leaned toward my phone, voice careful. Liz, I'm sorry. Liz cut her off. Don't. One word, sharp as glass. Emma froze, then nodded once like she accepted it. Liz spoke again, controlled and precise. Did he tell you he wanted a baby? Emma hesitated, then answered. Yes. Liz's breath hitched. Did you sleep with him after he told you that? Emma's eyes widened. She looked at me like she wanted help. I didn't give it. This was between them now. Emma swallowed hard. Yes. Liz didn't scream. She went dead quiet, and that silence was worse than screaming. I stared at my hands and felt my stomach roll. I wanted to interrupt, to cushion it. There is no cushion for that. Emma's voice came smaller. I didn't know you were actively trying. Liz's voice came back icy. He told you I didn't want kids. Emma nodded again, quick. Yes. Liz exhaled slow. So he made me the villain. Her tone stayed calm, and it terrified me. Emma's phone buzzed again, and this time it was a different name. Unknown. Emma's face tightened. She declined it fast. Then a text came through from Jake on her phone. Tell her you're crazy. Tell her you trapped me. Emma's jaw clenched and she shoved the phone toward me. Liz heard the movement and asked, "What is he doing?" I didn't sugarcoat it. "He's trying to turn you against us." Liz laughed once hollow. Us? She repeated it like it tasted awful, then her voice dipped. "I don't care about you too." She paused. "I care about my body and my future." That line hit hard because it was real. My chest tightened again. "Liz, the appointment," I started, then stopped. I didn't want to speak that sentence out loud. Liz finished it for me. "I'm not going." She said it like a decision, not a loss. Emma whispered, "Thank God." Liz heard it and snapped. "Do not thank God." Emma shut up again, eyes wet now. I wanted to tell Emma to stop making sounds. I also felt bad for thinking it. Liz's voice shifted into something practical and frightening. "Send me what you have." She didn't ask, she demanded. Screenshots, voicemail, everything. Emma blinked fast. "I can send it." Liz's tone stayed flat. "Do it now." Emma started tapping on her phone, fingers shaking. I watched her hands and felt a weird mix of anger and pity. She had proof and she was terrified to use it. While Emma sent the files, my phone buzzed with Jake's name. Liz must have heard the buzz through the speaker. "That's him." Her voice sharpened. "Answer." I answered, and I didn't bother with a greeting. "Liz knows." Jake went silent for a beat, then his voice came in low and furious. "You're dead to me." I held the phone away and kept it on speaker. Liz's voice cut in, cold. "Hi, Jake." That one line made my skin prickle. Jake's breathing changed, and I could picture his face tightening. "Liz, I can explain." His tone turned smooth fast. He was switching masks again. Liz didn't let him warm up. "Are you sleeping with other women?" Direct, no space. Jake tried to laugh. It sounded forced. "Where is this coming from?" Liz's voice stayed steady. "Answer." There was a pause, then Jake exhaled like he was annoyed. "It's not like that." Liz's jaw must have clenched on her end. "That's not an answer." She sounded calm, and I hated how calm she sounded. Calm meant she was past pleading. Jake's voice turned. "D sharper, why are you talking to him?" He meant me like I was the problem. Liz snapped back, "Because you made him lie for you." Jake went quiet again, and that quiet told on him. Emma whispered, "He did the same to me." Liz didn't acknowledge her. Liz stayed, locked on Jake. "You told her I didn't want kids." Jake stammered, and I'd never heard him stammer before. "I didn't," he started, then stopped. He went for the pity angle. "You've been stressed, you've been on me." Liz's voice cut like a blade. "So you cheated." Jake's breath came in loud. "I made mistakes." Liz didn't move off the point. "Mistakes are forgetting milk." She paused, then lowered her voice. "This is betrayal." Jake's tone turned angry now, like blame was easier. "You're making this into a circus." Liz replied, "You built the circus." Another pause. "You just didn't think I'd buy a ticket." I felt my throat tighten at her words. She was sharper than I expected, and it hurt to hear. Jake tried to regain control. "Come home and we'll talk." Liz laughed, and this time it sounded real. Not happy, real. "I am home." She paused, then said, "You're not." Jake went silent like he'd been slapped. Emma's phone buzzed again, and she ignored it. She stared down at her hands and looked small now. Jake's voice came back, softer, desperate. "Liz, please, we can still have a baby." I felt my stomach drop at that line. He said it like a bargaining chip, like a prize he could hand her to keep her. Liz's voice turned deadly quiet. "Do not say that." Jake tried to talk over her. "We're already trying." Liz snapped, "Not anymore." She inhaled, then said it slow. I will not bring a child into your lies. Jake's voice cracked and it sounded genuine for half a second. You're overreacting, Liz answered. You underreacted to your vows. That landed hard, even I felt it. Jake's voice turned vicious again, cornered. You're listening to two people who hate me, Liz replied. I'm listening to evidence. Then she added, and your silence. Jake didn't know what to say to that. Liz's tone shifted again, practical. I want your location, Jake scoffed. No, Liz responded instantly. Then you're choosing hiding. Jake snapped back. I'm choosing sanity. Liz replied, you're choosing control. I sat there watching Emma's face change with every sentence. She looked like she wanted to disappear. Part of me wanted to tell Jake to shut up forever. Another part of me felt sick that I'd helped him hide even once. Liz's voice softened for a split second. I loved you. That line made my eyes sting unexpectedly. Jake jumped on it, voice pleading. I love you too, Liz replied. Love doesn't do this. Jake tried one more manipulation, voice low. If you tell people you'll ruin me. Liz didn't flinch. You ruined you. She paused, then added, I'm just done carrying it. There was a long beat where nobody spoke. I heard Jake breathing through the line. I heard Liz breathing too, controlled and harsh. I felt like I was sitting inside a car crash. Liz broke the silence with one final instruction. You're not coming back tonight, Jake protested. Liz cut him off, voice firm. If you show up, I call the police. Jake went quiet again, and that quiet felt like defeat. He tried a last shot, voice venomous. You'll regret this, Liz replied. Maybe, then she added, but I won't regret knowing. And she hung up on him. Jake stayed on the line with me and the air felt heavy. He didn't speak at first, then he hissed, You did this. I felt a strange calm settle in. You did this, I repeated and ended the call. Emma sat back like her bones hurt. She wiped at her cheek fast like she hated tears. She's going to hate me forever. I didn't offer comfort because comfort felt wrong. She should hate Jake, I said, and my voice shook anyway. My phone buzzed again and it was Jake this time. It was Liz. I stared at her name and felt dread climb again. Emma whispered, Answer. I answered with my heart hammering. Liz's voice sounded hollow now. Did you lie to me before tonight? The question was blunt. My stomach turned. I could have dodged it to protect myself. I didn't. Yes, one word, and it tasted like ash. Liz stayed silent for a beat, then whispered, Okay. That okay didn't forgive me. It filed me somewhere colder. She spoke again, steady but broken. I need the full timeline. Emma leaned forward, ready. I realized this wasn't over after one phone call. This was the start of a long, ugly process. I looked at Emma, then at my phone, and felt my life split. I was Jake's friend anymore. I was Liz's safe person either. I was the guy who opened the door and couldn't close it. Liz's voice came through again, sharper now. Are you willing to tell the truth to his family? My stomach dropped. That question meant escalation. It meant war, and it meant my phone would never stop buzzing.